Welcome back. Here's another variation, slightly different flavor from the basic samba, and also from the second variation where we're accenting more of the low end part of this groove. Now, as I mentioned in the first lesson for the basic samba, the a go-go bell player, the player who hits these two little differently pitched bells, kind of like cowbells, I demonstrated that part on the tom so that you could hear the difference. I'll do that again. So if we have a quarter note pulse here on the hi-hat, keeping it, I'll count you in, and we could try to play that melody again on the toms. Okay? 1, 2, ready, go. So, you hear that there's two different notes, but the neat thing about this on the drum set is that we have additional voices. And as you remember, voices are the different types of drums or cymbals that you strike or hit that have a different sound from each other. We have a lot of control over these many voices. Now, this particular variation of the samba, we're no longer playing that 16th note pandero pattern on the snare drum like we were in the basic samba and in the version with the surdo being accented in the groove, the low end part. Now what we're doing is we're playing a unison part pretty much at the same time rhythmically. Both hands are doing the same exact thing at the same time, but all I'm doing here is I'm moving the right hand around the different toms to recreate that melody from the go-go bells. But the really cool thing about it is I'm adding one more note here to give it a little more contrast. So instead of just two notes between two drums, or two toms I should say specifically, I'm adding this third rack tom here. So for many of you that have a setup that's a 5-piece setup with two mounted rack toms and a floor tom, this is perfect because you could use all three of them within this pattern. Now the feet do not change. The feet are still the same. You're still playing on the first and last 16th note of every quarter note in non-cut time, and you're playing on the 8th notes for the hi-hat. Okay? So let me just start this groove much slower, and I'll just start with the feet, and then we'll bring the hands in so that you see where the melody is around these three toms here, between the two rack toms and the floor tom. The snare drum is playing the same exact part rhythmically as the right hand. Okay? So let's count this off nice and slow. We'll just start with the feet. 1, 2, ready, go. Now I'm going to add the toms, the melody. So okay? So you're basically starting on the smaller rack tom here, going to the floor tom, coming back up here, and then going over to the one in between the floor tom and the smaller rack tom. Okay? We'll try it again. 1, 2, ready, go. And okay? So that's the fundamental of this certain variation where we are paying homage, so to speak, really paying attention to the melody in the actual samba groove a little more than the low end or just that accented pandero pattern. So, to review, both hands play the same rhythm as is in the transcription. The feet are still the same pattern from the previous two samba examples, the basic samba and the variation with the surdo being accented. And we now are using a melody with three voices, so it does make it a little more interesting. So first, I would recommend just getting comfortable playing with the quarter note with the melody. Once you get comfortable with the melody, you may even want to, as a suggestion, do it in between three drums. So I'll just give you this quick tip and we'll wrap it up. So it'll be 1, 2, ready, go. Okay? So that may be helpful in developing the coordination for this groove, just isolating two parts, and the right hand and your left foot. Okay? So have fun with this one. Stay melodic. Have something to say with the melody while laying down the groove.